Right before I'm filming this, I had some macaroni with sauce, and I had to make sure that the frame was high enough so that you can't see anything from here down. I just got a little tiny blob on my sweatshirt. Hey Booktube, it's Kim at Middle of the Book March, and this is my Bookish week for Saturday, January 7th, 2023. So it's the first My Bookish Week video for the year. And, you know, c'est la vie, because I didn't finish one dang book. That's okay. I've got a lot going. I've got a lot going on, but I didn't finish anything. But I still have plenty to talk about. Not to worry. Don't panic. Not to worry. So let me tell you about the books I have next to me. I'm going to kind of briefly show you what I am currently reading. And, excuse me, I have a DNF and I've got another little nugget of things to show you. So I, in fact, did DNF Lucy Gayheart by Willa Cather. I believe I DNF'd this last weekend after my video. So I'm a fan of Willa Cather's writing. And hold on, I'm going to cough. Okay, I'm back. I forgot to get a drink after I ate my lunch. So I'm a fan of Willa Cather's writing. However, the book's setting didn't work for me. And it's the story of Lucy, who is a teenage girl and a piano player, a musician. And she lives in a little countryish town in Nebraska. And she's going to school for music in Chicago. But the town hunk is falling in love with her, or has designated her as the girl he wants to marry. But he's not very intellectual. He's not up to what she's hoping for in a partner or a husband. And they're friends, and she likes to hang out with them and do the stuff that teenagers do, you know, have friends around and do fun things. But he's not the love of her life. She knows that she's meant for greater things, and music is what she's meant to do. So she goes to school in Chicago. She ends up being tutored or mentored by a middle-aged musician and singer who asks her to be his accompanist, is that right? On the piano. I think that's right. And that's where the story goes. But I got about as far, I probably got about a third through this short novel, and I got to the point where I was reading more about their interactions, and she was starting to become more and more attached to this middle-aged singer who is married, and I gave up at that point. I really wasn't interested in the provincial girl leaves the boy at home and goes to the big city and meets an inappropriate man and starts to, you know, crush on him hard and then probably fall in love with him, but then it's dysfunctional. I wasn't really interested in that story. And I also wasn't interested in the way the country and the city was described and contrasted in her writing. So I gave up. I think I was a little bit bored and I wasn't interested in the characters or the story. But I will absolutely still continue with Cather because I think this may be an outlier, and I will read, which is the first one? O Pioneers? I think that's the first of a series with O Pioneers, My Antonia, and I don't remember the names of the other novels, but I absolutely will pick them up. So, I am currently reading 5 books. The first one is, I have the cover off of this one, but I am reading The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin, and this is my Library of America copy. It's the 4th book in the Hainish novel series. It is the 4th book out of 5, and this is a bind-up volume. So this has the Hainish Novels and Stories Volume 1. And so far, so good. Left Hand of Darkness. I don't know if I can go wrong with Ursula K. Le Guin, but more on this. I expect to be done with this by next weekend. I have started A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki for the Blind Eye Book Club. We're not going to need to be finished with this until like January 25th or so. So I've very slowly dipped my feet into the first chapter or two, and we'll continue with that for the end of the month. I am reading the last Jane Austen novel that I had to complete, and it's Mansfield Park. I also read Lady Susan, and I have not read Sanditon or any of the juvenilia, apparently is what they're called, and to this day I'm still not sure what that is, but I don't know if I'll pick that up. I am buddy reading Mansfield Park with Heidi at My Reading Life and Joe Smith, illustrious commenter and subscriber, and we are making our way through this. We checked in on the first third. This book is divided into 3 volumes, and I am working on volume 2, and we will check in after that. And yeah, all I'm going to say right now, I'm not going to talk a lot about this, is, we'll see. And for my In Real Life book club, I am reading Hester by Laurie Lico Albanese. This is not a retelling of The Scarlet Letter, but it is a reimagining of Nathaniel Hawthorne and a young woman named Isabel. What's her married name? I want to say her maiden name, but Gamble, Isabel Gamble. She is a young woman who lived in Scotland and got married to Edward in Scotland, but due to some negative events, they had to flee and come to America. So Isabel and Edward land in Salem, Massachusetts, where Isabel meets a young Nathaniel Hawthorne. And so it's not a retelling of The Scarlet Letter, even though there's a red A right there on the cover. There are definitely some aspects to the story built into this novel, and the novel talks about things like slavery and the Salem witch trials, immigration, the literary ideas of Hawthorne, and so on and so on. So it touches on quite many topics, and I'm about 2/3 of the way through this. I actually think I may finish it tonight, or I will almost definitely finish it this weekend. So, and that's all I want to say about that. And I'm currently reading 5 books. The 5th book is an ebook, and it is called, I'm getting there, I wrote it down. It is called These Silent Woods by Kimmy Cunningham Grant. And this is kind of a mystery. I'm not sure yet if it's going to be a thriller. I'm almost 20% of the way through this book. But I think it's like a domestic mystery. It's a story of Cooper and Finch. And Cooper is a man, a veteran, and Finch is an 8-year-old girl. And they are living in a remote, isolated, undiscovered cabin in the Appalachians. I don't know if it's the mountains or forest. But there's a backstory. There's some sort of reason why they've lived there all of Finch's life, and it's been 8 years. They don't have any contact with the outside world, except for another man named Scotland, who has a remote cabin elsewhere, but close enough so that they can speak and share resources and that type of thing. But there's something going on. There's a reason why they are out in the middle of nowhere. There's a reason why they haven't left for 8 years, and Finch, the young girl, has not seen anyone else except their other quote-unquote companion, Scotland. So far it's a really interesting story idea. I love the writing. I was so surprised by this book. It was just a book I found as a deal, an ebook deal, and I bought it because I like the idea of the story, but it's very well written. I love the writing style, and I'm really looking forward to keep going on this book. So now, those are the books I'm currently reading, and that was the one book I DNF'd. So what else do I have to talk to you about? I have decided to start, well, not to start, because I kind of, in the last year or so that I've been on BookTube, I've written a bunch of things down, but I started a book journal. And for no other reason than I like writing things on paper, and I like seeing my progress. I can pick up a journal and I can just flip a page and there it is. I don't have to open anything. I don't have to plug into anything. But I am not that creative of a person. I'm not going to go full on bullet journal with stickers and labels and colored pens. That overwhelms me. And I have seen some people on BookTube with just amazing, artistic, beautiful book journals that I absolutely love looking at by the end of the year. I am like just writing some ideas on a piece of paper. But so I went to the store and I found this. It was like $7 or $8 at Marshall's, and it's just a lined notebook. And I thought this was really pretty. It's sunflowers, has a little bit of shininess to it, and it's just, you know, regular lined paper. So what I decided to do was, what I basically did is I keep video ideas in here. I wrote out my, you know, my best of 2022, the books that I put in my video from last week. And I have started my list of what I'm reading in January. And all it is my list of books that I'm currently reading. I also started a list of my book purchases so far this was the post-Christmas, early January book purchases, and that video is coming soon. And so that's all I'm going to basically do is I want to keep track on paper. And I read an article, and for the life of me, I can't remember what site I read it on. I was reading on at least 3 different sites yesterday for book topics, and I read an article about how to make it easier to keep track of your reading and how to simplify, you know, keeping track of the books you read and what you think of them. And all it was basically going back to the basics and writing things down on paper and writing things in a notebook. And there's no need to make it complicated. There's no need to feel the pressure of trying to be creative. That's kind of what tripped me up in the past. Is I've started journals before, and then I thought, this is stupid. I want to get more creative. And then I would just get paralyzed that I wouldn't do it well enough, so I stopped writing in a journal. And yes, I still use Goodreads, but I like using Goodreads to see the visuals and to have the numerical statistics kind of at the drop of a button, so to speak. So I will still use Goodreads, but I don't write reviews anymore, especially since joining BookTube, because all my reviews are visual on video. But I do use the star rating, and I do use, you know, the want to read function, and I do use Goodreads to keep track. And I always put the books I'm currently reading on Goodreads. So this is going to be my not alternate, but my additional way to write down my thoughts as it comes to reading or books. Even, you know, comparing a book to a movie, I actually rewatched Mansfield Park the other night. I had already seen the movie years ago, so I kind of know what the plot of Mansfield Park is. But I rewatched the movie as I'm reading the book. So once I finish the book, I will definitely have thoughts, and that I'll probably write down, and I'll include in a wrap-up video. And so they're in here, or they will be. But I'll continue to write in my book, and I really like the cover. I think it's pretty, so it makes me want to gravitate towards it, to write things down. And I love writing things down for the simple fact is it gets it out of my head. I am not a typical journal keeper. I don't journal as a verb. I don't write in a journal every day. I don't keep a diary. I've tried over the years, time and time again, but I just have no desire, and I just lose all motivation. But this is different. There's no pressure for me to write a coherent paragraph. It's just a lot of it is going to be lists of things and ideas, and it could be, you know, a couple words in a sentence, and that's good enough. And I'm looking forward to doing that. It's going to be a fun project for me, and I think it'll help me stay organized. I try to keep most of my life pretty low key, and I try to keep it low pressure. So this is helpful, that I am determined not to raise the stakes on myself and not to put the pressure to make it look pretty or to be more creative. It is only for me, so it's only me that needs to be happy with it. And it's easy to compare yourself to other people, but when you realize there's no need to do that, and when you realize you can do whatever you want, it's very liberating. So I'm running with that. I'm gonna use my sunflower book journal for the year. So that's it from me for this week. Let me know what you're currently reading, and let me know if you've read any of the books I showed you. If you're taking part in the Blind Eye Book Club, I know several of you have posted on Goodreads that you're reading A Tale for the Time Being. Good for you. Keep it up. I hope you're enjoying it. And I'm looking forward to that discussion by the end of the month. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.